Your early morning mentality is your every hour mentality. All gas, no brakes. Focus, purpose, power. Destined for the water, but confident everywhere else. A calming buzz before the storm, the truth of nature itself. You can't catch lightning in a bottle. There's a limit out there, but it's not with your gear. Unrelenting power delivery. Unparalleled weight savings. Keeping you on the water, whether you run a 9.9 or outscoping your best 5. In this rare air, there's power in the silence. It's a mindset, thinking only of the things that matter and freeing your mind from the things that you trust.
Things you let me see.
Cutting down the chaos of life is a lot easier when you can find everything you need, including peace, at one place. Your local farm and home supply.
Hey everybody, welcome. Monday night, June 3rd. Just finished up fishing for freedom. We've missed the last 2 Mondays. It's been pretty hectic with event after event after event. Again, we got a special guest on, Mr. Glen Thomas with the ACA and Rig Wrap. We're just going to kind of get into whatever tonight, talk about catfishing, what's kind of been going on, go over points, our Pekin tournament that we just had, which is stop 6 out of like 13 tournaments, and then our championship in Helena, Arkansas. And then again, we were just a part of Fishing for Freedom out of Quincy, Illinois, the 14th annual. And let me just make sure I don't give you the wrong information, but that was 257 warriors, 187 boaters, and 39 veterans from the Vets Home, which is a huge, huge event. We did catfish, bass, and crappie, twisted cat, and myself were up in Hamilton doing 48 boats, weighed them, and then paraded down to Quincy for the other weigh-in where we still go through and do all that. If you've seen the video from last year, awesome event. If you have been a part of it, I'm sure we'll see you next year. If you haven't and you got questions, we'd love to see you next year at Fishing for Freedom. Real quick, while people are kind of still jumping on, I just got the Pekin video finished up from Brandon. So I'm going to play that. It's an awesome video. And again, while you're watching the video, it's something just to go over. Last year, we had 36 boats. In August, we moved it to Memorial Weekend. Danny Sapp, the mayor, the city, the chamber, everybody was the Pekin Boat Club, Denison Chevrolet. There's a lot of big sponsors and people that helped put that event on to get us back there in Memorial Weekend, which is tough to draw big anglers, you know, with a 3-day weekend. We had 55 boats, 126 anglers, 6 lady anglers, 5 youth anglers, weighed 1,100 pounds, and the total payout, which is nuts, was $23,045. We also had a Calcutta that was almost $4,000. So it was a really, really good event, and 43 out of 55 teams weighed fish. So first place took home over $8,000. So we do the 100% payback on entry. We have $500 added to the pot from Castaway Customs. And then we had $2,500 on top of that. So over $3,000 just in added money on top of 100% payout. So awesome event. And if you weren't there, watch this video. It's awesome. You'll enjoy it. and then we'll get back in action.
21 total weight.
That's a giant.
Locked in at 16.46. Nice.
Hey everyone, welcome to Pekin, Illinois. This is our second time here. Last year we came here in August and had 36 boats in low water. This year, our second time here. We're here in May, Memorial Weekend. It's a great turnout. We're really excited to grow this event. 55 teams. We're gonna weigh in at the Pekin Boat Club, and we have $3,000 added money on top of our 100% payout. So a huge shout out to the city of Pekin, Ray Dennison Chevrolet, Buick, and Cadillac, and again, the Pekin Boat Club. Without these sponsors, we couldn't do it. That's a giant. Hopefully we break that 67-pound first place, but we'll see. So we're paying 100% out, $16,500. We got $3,000 added money for a total of $19,500.
Been counting down hours, and now we're so close we can almost taste it. Only 20 hours, my marker,
33.34.
everything we've been needing, missing, and wanting.
We can't thank Twisted Cat for coming to the city of Pekin again this year. That's the second annual tournament that we have here at the riverfront. It is growing. Last year there's like 36 boats. Today they have 55 that registered. It is growing and growing and growing. We can't thank them enough for believing in Pekin, bringing it here right to our riverfront. It is an absolute gorgeous day.
Oh, we got a flathead. Nice fish. Another one.
Alright. We got a new first place with 35.35. Awesome.
Great job, guys. And again, that's why people are here, anglers are here, chasing to get them points, because only 50 anglers get invited to the No Entry Fee Championship in Helena, Arkansas, November 2nd. And again, it's the top 50, your best 4 events. So you have 13 chances to get it, but only 4 of your best ones count. And like I said, it's starting to become a tight race, as this is stop number 6 on the tournament trail. All right, smile big. Now we're getting into the hardware, $2,500. Sean Kelly, Shane Kelly, and Dave Nogatitis. All right, Scott Tregoni, Gary Folletti, 35.35, $8,189. Awesome job. There's that. There's that. All right, so again, that was the second time Twisted Cat Outdoors was in Pekin, and we went from 36 to 55 teams. Thanks for all the support. We had teams from Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Kansas, really just all over. And on the Illinois River, which is actually a pretty good fishery, we kind of hit it rough. I think, a lot of high 20s, low 30s, five fish weigh-in, channel cat, but we did see a few flatheads. Dylan Moss and Bo Brady had big fish, big flathead. I think at 21 pounds, but they only had 2. So, but it really helped them in the points. Again, we'll go over the points a little bit tonight. And yeah, Tom, I think Facebook's working, maybe just reboot. But we'll go over the points tonight. If you have any questions about the points, again, 6 tournaments. Our next tournament is going to be July 6th in Perryville, Missouri. And that'll be a trailering event. We'll have our fish haulers downtown Perryville. We're going to weigh in during their car show right down on the square. Tons of vendors. It's going to be a really, really fun time. The Holiday Inn is the host hotel. Like I said, you got any questions about that, reach out. And that'll be stop number 7. So we got a lot of things going on. But yeah, so if you have any questions about anything that we've just finished up or anything that we got coming up, ask. But without further ado, Mr. Glen Thomas, welcome to the show.
Hey, Alex.
How we doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. I just been, I don't know the best saying, chasing my tail, but just kind of all over. And
I know that feeling.
But hey, I'm actually taking a vacation here soon.
Where are you going?
Next week, going to Tucson, Arizona, to see my cousins and my aunt and uncle and some family out there. And
you bringing your boat?
the only really water out there is the pool that house that we stay in will have. Other than that, there's not a ton of water around Tucson.
Well, then maybe just rent a boat if you can find the water.
True, we are driving out, so.
Tell you what, there's been a lot of places I've gone. I've rented a boat. Actually, some places in the Carolinas, renting a pontoon boat. Had a blast with it. Just a blast. Did some fishing, whatever. So, tell you, watching that video, Alex, hats off, brother. You do such a great job. It's Twisted Cat has come so far in the last few years. And, I dare say that it's, if not one of the premier tournament trails in the nation at this point. Really, you knock yourself out. I mean, obviously MRM does such a great job, George, with his events and the way he's spreading his wings a bit. Cat Masters that existed, Brian and his crew, did a terrific job. And there are so many other events out there, other trails that do a great job. But Twisted Cat really is knocking it out of the park. Plus, your involvement with this Fishing for Freedom, I think, is a great effort as well.
Yeah, no, like I said, I've been a part of that now, on the board for a while. One of my good buddies is actually the president, Nate Moore now. And it's fun being a part of it. And there's so many volunteers that help out, from the boaters that come, people that come help set up. It's a really, really good thing to be a part of. It's fun. And I think once you do it, you got to be a part of it every year. So I think that's why it continues to grow. Almost 200 boats. I mean, that is just insane. So, really excited about that.
Well, that and it goes to support, the veterans, which is, that's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Explain exactly what happens with Fishing for Freedom. Isn't there veterans that go out with a lot of the competing boats?
Yeah. So really how it works is, we usually try to get around 300 warriors. And then when we bring them in, we pair them up. So they get a questionnaire like, hey, would you want to bass fish, catfish, crappie? So then they have options. So we try to put everybody, if they want to catfish, we'll put them with a catfish guy. So like Joe Lunsford, he signed up. We put a vet that wants to catfish with him. And then we let the angler, if they want to fish pools 19 and 20, which I live in pool 20 on the Mississippi River, where the Des Moines dumps into the Mississippi, the last place you can catch blue cats. So we've got 19, which is really good channel cat water, and then 20. And then 21, 22, 23, and 24 pools, you weigh in Quincy at the main weigh-in, and then we have our Mark Twain Lake weigh-in. So once everybody weighs in, like once we weighed in, we had 48 boats in Hamilton. They got done fishing, came in. I might weigh some bass. The next weigh-in's catfish or crappie, and then bass again. And then everybody can have a trash fish. And then once we get done weighing, everybody's in line. The mayor of Hamilton's there. About 50 to 75 motorcycles are in that parking lot. Conservation police, fire department. They shut the road down, the highway there. And then we all parade. It's about a 45-minute drive, but we parade all the way through Hamilton and through 4 other towns on our way down. And I think, like Tristan just said, definitely a good time. It's amazing when you drive, that gives you that America feeling, man.
Yeah, right.
And
Right.
everybody's out there with the flags from kids. One of the towns in Ursa, there's a World War II.
It goes on. It's the same place every year, right?
Yeah, same event every year, same place, all out of Quincy. And then once, like I said, once we weigh in Hamilton, we parade and then weigh in. We just still go through a weigh-in line in Quincy at the main place, just without the fish. And then the veterans are in the boat. They announce the boater, the veterans, real quick to everybody, and then they go park. But it's, when you see like a World War II vet in one of the towns on the side of the road saluting every boat that comes by, I mean, that is awesome. And that's, like I said, that's the stuff like the banquet dinner the night before. It's all just such a really good deal.
Is there what's the website for it? I mean, let's say that folks have not been at this event and they want to take it in, let's say next year. I'm sure that they can probably even start considering making reservations now to be there. Where would they?
Yeah, so I think we've got the dates, but it's fishingforfreedomquincy.org. And you can go on there, check some of the stuff out. And then we'll have, at some point, we'll open up warrior and boater registration. Yeah, Colossal Cats was there. Aaron Gerald, Tristan was there. Like I said, it was just, you can't even explain it until you are a part of that event. And that's,
Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds like absolutely one of the best give backs, that goes on in fishing, not just catfishing, but fishing in general.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, it hones my skills, because I don't know a lot about bass and crappie.
Your skills need to be honed a bit, though.
The first year I helped, which it's been a while now, the bass guys would always bring their bass up in a bag of water. And I look at them like, I don't know how to weigh. What do you want me to do? I need those fish out of there. I need big fish and then put the others on top. And so we finally learned that. And then again, we just had our first annual CR.
So now that you're going to start doing bass tournaments now that you're a pro?
No. We just did the crappie invitational with CR, and that actually went really smooth. I will say, because I'm very OCD about after the tournament, either that night or when I get home the next morning, I have to clean all those buckets because they're disgusting. Crappie have a pretty bad smell. I thought it'd be a little bit cleaner, smaller fish, but they really weren't. So I was kind of shocked.
No, great stuff. Great stuff. So what else is going on? I've kind of been, laying low here for the last few months. People probably have noticed I haven't been all that active, but now getting back in the saddle, finally getting things going again.
Yeah, I know you had to cut out early at the CatCon.
Yeah, I've been dealing with some health issues that I think I finally got it handled, but we'll see. Day at a time, as they say. But we're matter of fact, tomorrow night we've got the ACA Live. We've got a kind of a roundtable discussion going on about conservation and community and just a whole bunch of stuff. And gonna be
I've seen that.
There's going to be some great conversations going on. I mean, there's some real passionate people that are going to be on there tomorrow night, and hats off to Jeremy Chase, who has been very, very instrumental, quite frankly, in putting all that together. ACA is facilitating it. We've had a chance to work with Jeremy and Justin and so many of the others that are on that panel for conservation efforts, Kentucky, Alabama, a few other places. But I think I think it'll be great for folks to tune in tomorrow night. Join in the chat. Love to hear everybody's opinions and thoughts, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be real interesting.
It seems to be a pretty good group of people. I've met a few of them. I don't think I've actually met Jeremy Chase in person, but he seems like he's doing a lot. I got to have him on the podcast sometime.
Jeremy, along with so many others, in the catfish community is extremely passionate about conservation. It's not just for the catfish. I mean, I would say he's equally as passionate, along with not only Jeremy, but others, I'm sure, as far as like bait fish. As catfish grows, the sport of catfish grows, the need for bait fish continues to grow. And a lot of fisheries are beginning to feel the effects of diminishing bait fish availability. So I know that Alabama is considering changing their regulations if they haven't already. In fact, one of the state legislators will be on with us tomorrow night as well from Alabama. So if people have questions regarding conservation and regulation and how to go about it, and pay lakes, J.R. Hall has been a real catalyst talking about pay lakes over the last month or so. And it's not just JR, but so many people have talked about pay lakes and concerns about pay lakes over the years. So we'll be talking about that. So there's going to be a lot of. We're going to start at 8:00, and we're going to go as long as people want to stick around and talk about it.
I'm just telling you right now, that's going to go long into the night.
Yeah, it is.
Which is good. I mean, like I said, there's so many things.
Chair and my favorite beverage, and we're gonna dig in. But but that's what it's all about. The ACA was created to do just this: is to unite the community and to be able to have these discussions and to be able to move forward. In trying to get these efforts, in place. We have kind of. I call it our regulation wish list that we provide to many of the states, outlining, what we think would be the best regulations, the fair regulations for everybody involved, whether it be the pay lakes, whether it be the commercial anglers, the recreational anglers, et cetera. And we've had good feedback from a few of the states regarding some of the regulations we propose. So, this stuff doesn't happen overnight. It could be even a generational thing where it's going to take years upon years. We may not see it, but your kids will, kind of thing. But you just have to continue to be persistent with it.
And that's my goal. I think, like to have Rhett, he's 10, he has good fishing, and still, when he gets, my age or older, like I said, there's so much in the 10. This is Twisted Cat's 10th year. I was in the catfishing a little bit before that, but in 10 years, it's changed a lot. I mean, from just how more businesses getting involved, more sponsors.
Yeah.
And like I talked to Brian this morning, getting the outside eyes into the sport will help.
We're
thinking catfish is a trash fish, and I think that's going to change some things when, we got to get some regulations. And I think, and that's across the whole board, again, this weekend in pool 19, which nobody thinks about channel cat because it's, the blue cats are getting, taken in some of the lower Mississippi. But I had a boater this weekend that a commercial guy came up to him, slowed his boat down and pulled big channel cat up and said, "Are you looking for these?" And that sucks,
Well, you're going to get people that are going to, I always say this, there's a lot of people that wake up every morning and the glass is always half empty. Doesn't matter what you do, no matter what you say, it's going to, the response to whatever goes on is going to be negative. And, it is what it is. Social media doesn't make it any easier to swallow a lot of that. And the guy driving by in a commercial boat, hanging up, hanging fish out there, going, "Hey, look what I got," kind of stuff, doesn't help the relationship between the commercial angler and the recreational angler. But you have to look past that and know that for the most part, the commercial anglers do it right, or at least try to. There's always going to be the bad apple that, the regulations that are in place are not always the best, but they're not always the worst. So, I personally like to look at things as the glass half full, not half empty, and build upon that. and build on the relationships, whether it be with a commercial angler or whether it be a regulator or whomever it might be. It's important that that's what we do. But, to your point, as far as the growth of the sport, in 2016, U.S. Fish and Wildlife did a study that showed the catfish segment being 8.3 million anglers. That's meaning that the primary species that these anglers fish for was catfish. That has grown substantially since then. We're now, 8 years beyond that study. And it's been reported by others that that number now is close to 11, possibly even 12 million. And that puts us second only to bass. But what everybody has to realize is that catfish is table fare, one of the top 10, consumed fish in the world. Not bass, not crappie, not bluegills, not anything other than catfish. So there's a big demand for it, obviously commercially, recreationally, etc. So because of the demand, because of the growth of the sport, we try to get states to realize that because of that, because of the growth, because of its popularity, that the regulations need to be adjusted based upon that growth, that demand, and the pressure on the fisheries because of that. So,
and like I said, I'm going to show a picture, but we don't have a lot of data on catfish, even the bait fish. I'm in Illinois, where on the Mississippi you've got the Missouri, which Missouri Conservation, they do a lot of studies, a lot of things. The amount of money they put in these, like for sturgeon, is crazy. But we had a fish caught that I weighed in this weekend, Cody Vickers, and it had a tag, and it also had an electronic tag. Let's see if I can.
Yeah, you have a picture of that, don't you?
Yeah. So I think we weighed it. I can't remember. I think it was like 9-pound blue cat. And I actually talked to him before the podcast, and there it is again. The biologist is supposed to call him tomorrow to confirm. And I'll show the cool picture in a second. But so that's the tag that was on it. It's the fish on the far left here. But here's what was really cool. Let's see if we got a good picture. Right there, they noticed.
Yeah.
So the second I seen that, what do you think I'm yelling? Checking for weights.
Yeah. Well, weight, length, girth.
No, for weights. If they put weights in it, it's a joke, Glenn.
Oh.
Gosh, come on.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyways, so no, it was just stitched. So they think the guy that he talked to this morning thinks that fish was tagged a week or two ago in pool 22, which is 2 pools down, probably 80 miles south of where it was caught this weekend.
The spaghetti tag that you showed first, didn't that have a date on it? Or did it just have a phone number?
I think it was just a phone number, but so we'll have more data on that tomorrow. But like I said,
did anybody call? Did anybody call yet?
Yeah, it's already been called. Yeah, and the main guy they talked to thinks that tag, with it being the stitch, you can still see the stitches, was from like a week ago or 2 weeks ago in pool 22.
So the spaghetti tab, as well as the inserted stuff, was only a week or so ago.
Yes.
Interesting.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So these are the 3 blues that were caught. This is pool 20. And then pool 19, you just don't catch blue cats. They just come up. So, we always talk about tagging and learning the migration, and especially even like with bait fish, we notice a huge, migration south and then coming back up in the spring and summer in our areas. And we even see that with skipjack big time too. So, that's very interesting. So I think as we continue to grow and learn more, it's going to help us, all out. Because like I said, we got a lot to learn. Like, I'd love to know what some of these fish are doing are they traveling down to Memphis and then to Kansas City? And it seems like they're doing a lot of traveling, but we'll continue to learn. And as the sport grows, I think we'll get more people involved.
Yeah, we, my business partner, Steve Miller, and I have developed a program. We actually still trying to get funding for it. It's a big project, huge project as far as fisheries conservation and tagging and tracking. If we're able to get this thing done, and I don't want to get too much in the weeds on it, but if we're able to get it done, it will change data collection and recreational fishing forever. We'll change it. So
yeah, I think you told me a little bit about that. That's pretty.
Yeah, it's interesting technology, and it would be interesting to be able to implement and working with the various states and the hatcheries around the country. But I love the tagging. And I love being able to, when you catch it, to be able to trace, what that fish, where it's been, how it's grown, etc.
Yeah.
But, I think they need somebody a little bit more. That incision that they made and stitched it up, it was pretty gruesome.
Yeah, it looked a little rough. That looked like
but like a quick Frankenstein fix.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it's still cool to see that, and like I said, it's
be interesting to know what they inserted in there. I mean, that incision is pretty significant compared to
talking to Jim Lamer, which I've had on here a few times. Usually, what that tag is, they can't just like get on their computer and like monitor that tag, which would be pretty cool. But they have stations all along the Mississippi and some of the Missouri River, where when that fish travels past that station, that tagging station, I know like Cape Girardeau has one. I think every dam, every so many miles, but when it actually records the fish, if it was going upriver or downriver, and also the depth, if he was low or high. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it kind of pings the fish. It's kind of like, what you've got on your credit card, the little, I forget what you call them. But it does. I mean, it reads the data of going by, but that has to be significant to be picked up. And I'm wondering if they've got a battery pack in that thing that, that maybe turns on and off by that sensor that they've got in the water, so that when it gets close to that sensor, it turns it on, grabs the data, turns it off.
I talked to Jim about that because, they did the spaghetti tagging with Twisted Cat for 2 full years. Every tournament they came and tagged it. They weighed diet sample. I mean, tagged every fish.
Yeah.
Followed us, and I still got to get that data. I keep saying that with Ashley. Ashley Stanley actually did that. She was a graduate from Western Illinois University. But the electronic tags are not cheap. But I always thought that would be cool if we could, maybe one of the tournaments in Alton or whatever, where they could tag a bunch of blues and follow them for a year, do a study, and see the migration. If they kind of stay together, they, some go to Missouri, some go up to Illinois.
Well, that's the beauty of the system that we developed, is that it actually, again, I can't get too much into it, nor will I, but you can actually use your cell phone to be able to collect the data. It's an interesting technology. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
So when's your next event, Alex?
July 6th will be in Perryville. So I got to fly out. Yeah. So Wednesday morning, I fly to New York to Albany. Is it Albany or Albany?
Albany. What are you going to Albany for?
A tourism show. So Wednesday, Thursday in Albany.
Albany's along the Hudson River, and that's the mouth of the Erie Barge Canal. I grew up on the other end of the Erie Barge Canal. That was hand dug from Albany, New York. Erie Barge Canal in the 1800s, all the way to, well, actually suburb of Buffalo, where it turned in, where it tied into a established creek there. But yeah, yeah, it's interesting. I remember as a kid, I used to find horseshoes in our backyard.
Oh wow!
And, yeah, they pulled, mules. They pulled the barges up and down the canal, and there was like these concrete, what do you want to call them? Ties, so that they could tie off the barges. All the bridges are low. It's the history. When I was a kid, I think it was like 7 or 8 years old. As a family, my dad had this old 36-foot Chris Craft. We went from Buffalo, New York, all the way to New York City, down the Erie Barge Canal, and 72 locks there and back. And the lock system is it's amazing. It's amazing. It's if you ever get a chance to be able to take a ride down the canal, even a small section of it, do it. It's probably one of the most beautiful rides you'll ever take. Really, really, really nice.
And is there any catfish in a canal?
I never caught them in my backyard. I used to catch pike a lot, but there's catfish in like Lake Erie, which isn't too far. And if they're in Lake Erie, they're probably in a canal somewhere. But the Niagara River is pretty swift. Figure the Niagara River is like the Mississippi. When the Mississippi really gets going, the Niagara River is like that, but on steroids. And there's a couple places where it really widens out and kind of lessens a little bit, but then you get close to Niagara Falls, and then it's all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, I've been to Niagara Falls once. That's pretty cool.
It really is. Really is cool. But yeah, so Albany, New York, it's pretty country. The Hudson River is one of the deepest rivers in the country, and I think there's catfish up in the Hudson. I have to go back through my notes. I went through a lot of the fisheries around the country as far as what species were more prevalent there, and I believe there's catfish in the Hudson. If anybody in chat knows, let us know.
Yeah, I'm going to learn a little bit out there, and like I said, it's a tourism show, and then I come back and go on vacation for a week out to Arizona, and then it's just back at it. Do a poker run, and when I come back, CR poker run and pool 26 of the Mississippi.
Yeah, how many people you got? How many people you got signed up for that? I mean, last year that seemed to be you seemed to be very successful.
Yeah, so the first year we had 7 boats. Last year we had 22, and right now we're at 30. So probably have 40 boats for the poker run. And the poker run's on Friday, and then the beach day's on Saturday. So
yeah, and if people want to get involved with that, what do they do? How do they get involved? Do you have to have a Sea Arc boat, I assume?
Yeah,
right?
So Friday is the Sea Arc. Yeah, it's a Sea Arc owners event. And it's just a cool thing. You don't have to worry about catching bait and icing bait and catching fish and all that. It's just a relaxing weekend. And then after that, it's Perryville. And I think it's going to be big fish country. So we've already got some people pre-fishing for that tournament. So pretty excited about that. Yeah.
Now you and Sea Arc, have gotten involved with MRM and Vicksburg Megabucks, right?
Yeah, actually, I'm not gonna fish it this year. I'm gonna help MC. Me and Ramsey are gonna MC it. So I'm excited to see that. Yeah.
2 of you up there should do a really good job. I mean, Chris does a good job. You do a great job. It should be a really good team, on stage.
Yeah, I'm excited. It'll be fun to have somebody up there with me, and it'll be cool. I'm pretty pumped about that. I went down to Vicksburg, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago with George and spent a couple of days there talking to some people in the city and, try to help him line some things out there. And I think it's going to be a really, really fun event.
Yeah, it's now a 100 boat event.
Yeah.
3-man teams and first place, if it goes that far, if the final four decide to fish it, is $100,000, right?
I think so. 100,000.
Yeah, I mean that's significant.
They are buying dinner that night. I promise.
That's gonna make somebody's day. That's gonna make somebody's day. That's a big purse. That's a big win. But
That's the thing, is like, that's what's changing. This sport is growing to where we're getting those outside, like especially going to Vicksburg and seeing like just what the city sees and thinks about that event and catfishing and the sport of it, and in the boats. They talk about all these big boats coming through and people traveling in, spending, time there. Now there's people that are vacationing there and spending a couple of days catfishing, and the restaurants can see that, and that's what it's kind of about. But I haven't met a local guy there that he bought an easy cat, and he's even catfishing now just because of the tournament. So like, that's pretty cool.
yeah, no, I mean, and I remember going to Vicksburg initially with George and having the conversation with the folks there. And one of the things that I loved about Vicksburg was the inside weigh-in, the convention center they have there. I was glad to see that what I thought would really work out well did for the inside weigh-in last year, and I'm guessing this year it's going to be better, because I think that they've gotten some things figured out, and so it should be a great event. It's good to see that SeaArk is part of it, but SeaArk has been part of catfishing now for so long, and they do such a great job. And we're so grateful for SeaArk for their support, for not only the ACA but for the whole catfish community. And if anybody's out there ever thinking about getting into the sport or getting themselves a new boat, SeaArkBoats.com, baby. That's where you start.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. No, so we're gonna put a protege in the casino down there, and somebody's gonna win a protege.
Yeah, that's what I hear. That's what I hear. That's great. That's great. And they're going to be able to win a SeaArk boat with the ACA again this year too.
Mm-hmm.
We actually have a group that is going to be assisting our efforts with the raffle this year, as far as marketing and stuff like that. So expect to see some really cool stuff. And we finally got all the paperwork in and everything else. And James Shaw, this year's winner, will be down to SeaArk, I'm thinking maybe this week or maybe next week, to pick up the boat at the SeaArk factory. So I got to get a hold of John Ed, and we've got some photos and videos and stuff like that we need to talk about, that we need to get. And great stuff. I love seeing that all come together.
Yeah, I got to talk to James on the phone after he won it. He was asking a bunch of questions. He actually had a pro cat, and then I think he had fished a tournament is how he got in, right?
No, he's a member. You talking about how he got into the raffle?
Yeah.
No, he was a member.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so he was
he's a member of the ACA, and just as a member, you got several chances to win now.
Yeah, he actually lives about 3 hours from me.
Yeah, he's pretty excited about it. Certainly grateful for the chance to win, and it's it's all good stuff. And we've been working on my downtime here, as I mentioned earlier. I've been working on kind of revamping, conceptually anyways, the model, the ACA model, and and we'll get into it a little bit more as time goes on. But we've got some really cool ideas as far as how to take the ACA to the next level. We want to establish chapters throughout the country and start with regional chapters, and then from there we can get into state chapters, and just a lot of good stuff. that I think people are going to get excited about. And it helps us kind of keep our ear to the ground too, as far as conservation regulations and events that go on and all that kind of stuff. So it's all really, really good stuff.
And that's
the support from the community is so important.
Yeah, like I'm not a fan of hearing the skipjack deal that they're doing in Alabama or on the Tennessee River, but maybe that's needed. Maybe they've done studies on that, but that's going to affect some anglers getting bait.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that what's going to happen is that there's going to have to be alternative baits considered. At number one, which may start, the industry, looking at alternatives to make available to the catfish community, which could spur, a whole industry, artificial, creating artificial bait. And I don't mean hard baits, but I'm, if there's something artificial that can be created that gives off the same scent, has the same kind of texture as cut bait, whatever. I don't know.
Chicken.
But I mean, that was what blasted bass, into its industry leading, position, was all the lures, all the gear. So this may be a blessing in disguise for the industry. But as far as now, well, if you're going to go pre-fish, you may need to be out there, bait fishing, for a day or half a day or whatever the case might be. I can tell you right now, when I go out fishing here in the Atlantic Ocean, we're out early in the morning with sabikis and we're chasing bait fish and we're going after the goggle eyes and the bait fish. And, we collect, a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen bait fish. And from there, then we head out. So we're getting our bait fish, ourselves. If you pay for it here, you pay through the nose during the winter. 12 goggle eyes, it's like $10, $15 a piece for live bait.
Skipjack's been getting up there too. I mean, a lot of the bait, even shad guts up in my area, I mean, you can't even really, nobody even does it anymore because it's just got out of control.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking $20 a jar, even more.
Yeah. But if the use of the bait continues the way it's going, then the fisheries are going to be compromised because the bait fish are going to be reduced to the point where, the states are going to crack down on it and nobody's going to be able to get any of the bait until there's a recovery. So, I certainly don't have the answer for it, other than I think what Alabama is considering, and what other states may be considering. I also think that, and there was a program that we had proposed, and we're still talking about it, as far as kind of farm raised, open pens in flowing water to raise, bait fish, because you have the flowing water coming through, their food source comes through, the current comes through. So, I mean, they're you don't have a man-made pond, if you will. It's just that you've got them contained in the same body of water they're normally in. But again, I don't know what the spawning habits are of a skipjack or anything like that. You'd have to tie in with a university to do the study to find out if in fact there's feasibility, how quickly they grow, what can you feed them to grow it faster, to be able to harvest them at what size. So there's all sorts of variables to consider. But no, I think that, I think that it's probably something that's going to have to be addressed. And we as an industry, or as a community, need to realize that there's got to be checks and balances to all of this. We can't just be looking for the states to regulate and to do what they think is right, or what we think they should be doing. It needs to be, a back and forth, a concerted effort by both the regulators and the anglers. The responsibilities on both sides, not just one.
Yeah, Wallace said, is the Cumberland fished out of skipjack? Nope. Think about that. I'm not sure what he means by that, but Chris, what I'm more concerned about is you came up and fished a kingcat on Saturday, 2 hours from my house, and couldn't even come see me on Sunday. Drove up all the way from Alabama, wouldn't stop and see me. Nate said, still plumb full last time I was getting bait.
Yeah, no, I'm just repeating what I'm hearing. Okay, I don't have firsthand experience. I'm not out there bait fishing, in Alabama or anywhere else. I'm just saying what is being talked about, what's being stated in Alabama and other parts of the country. So just know that that's being discussed.
Yeah.
And that I can promise you that the states are not going to pull the trigger on something unless they have the data that back it up to a certain degree. I mean,
yeah, is that skipjack thing, is that passed already on the Tennessee River?
In Alabama?
Yeah.
I don't know. I talked to Chris Sells about it last week. I think it may be coming. But it's tough to keep track of every regulation in every state because they do tend to change. Yeah, I mean, it's not just the bait fish as far as regulation changes that go on. I mean, it's across the board. I mean, it was great to see Kentucky finally get, finally do what they did, last year. We were so close to getting stuff done in Arkansas and Mississippi, and we're communicating again. So hopefully we can.
Yeah, that was close in Arkansas. Yeah. Justin said it is passed, goes in effect September 1.
There it is. So, yeah. So, but again, they've got the resources. The state has the money, and the partnerships with universities and the science community to do these kind of studies. A lot of people have come to the ACA and said, well, how come you're not, hiring a lobbyist, or you're not studying this? You could take the smallest body of water. Okay. And if you want to do a study there and I mean, properly do the study, it's going to be $250,000 all day long. And then you don't know what's going to come about from it. All of a sudden, the study can conclude that, hey, everything's great. And you just spent $250,000 to hear, hey, everything's great. The states and the universities are the best place to establish relationships and partnerships. And, look at the data, because you don't get, and tomorrow night we'll get into this, and I don't mean to get into the weeds too much on this, but you don't get regulation changes based upon just this is what we want or this is what we think it is. These commissions listen to their fisheries director. The fisheries directors listen to their biologists and the studies that have been performed, and they go through the data and they look at the data and they say, hey, you know what, this needs to change. And that's when the fishery directors takes that to the commission, tells the commission, hey, this needs to change. And they look at everything and they figure out what's going to happen if they make this change. And then they decide yes or no, or they may compromise on that change. And then it goes into the state legislature to be passed into law. It is not an easy task to change regulation. And if they don't have the data, they may not have the resources to get the data. And if they don't have the data, they're not going to make the change just because you as an angler say, I'm not catching as many fish as I used to. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I mean, I'm sure there is some. I'd like to see them.
There's data that exists out there.
Because I know I've seen Wheatley talking about, that, and maybe Justin can kind of confirm this or not, and I know they'll talk about it tomorrow, but that the Ohio River is getting better. I was actually shocked. I did Twisted Cat in Jeffersonville for 2 years. I didn't get to go there this year. I had anglers from Missouri and Kansas they were mad I didn't go back because the fishing was that good. We could have hit it right also. So I'd love to see, what was that fishing 10 years ago, 5 years ago?
They don't have the data. I mean, if you talk about like Kentucky with it goes back. It really, I think it goes back, and Justin's in there. Justin, you remember? I think that came up at the last meeting as far as the data. I think it only went back to like 2014, 2013, something like that. I actually, when I got up and spoke in front of the commission, I told the commission, I said, because you don't have that data, and I kind of referred to all the anglers behind me. I said, these are the guys that you should be listening to because they've been out doing it for decades. And if they're telling you that the fish, they can't catch as many fish as they used to, that's pretty significant data to at least consider. So, it's when they don't have the data, it's really difficult because you're asking a commission, you're asking the law to change based on speculation. And quite frankly, I don't know of any law or regulation that has changed based on speculation. I mean, they may get proactive and they may say, you know what, let's do this just in case and see where it goes. But those regulation opportunities are few and far between.
Yeah. And I mean, I know Josh made a post there, but I guess, let's see, ain't what it used to be. I only been fishing 11 years, several numbers, certain times of the year, maybe big fish, not so much. They're all going to Pay Lake. So, the Pay Lake thing is definitely an issue. And, I mean, it seems to be a growing issue as the sport grows and we see more and more people get into the sport. Like I talked to Brian this morning, and once you get the law, let's just say that there is a law that you can't take a fish from the Mississippi River, the Ohio River to an Ohio Pay Lake or whatever Pay Lake. If the law is not, if there's no punishable besides a $15 or $25 fine, that's not going to stop them.
Yeah, it's a cost of doing business. I mean, they don't. And I've talked to regulators about that as well. Is that the penalty, of breaking the regulation needs to be substantial. You don't fine somebody $50. You fine them $500 or $1,000 or $2,500 the first time.
2 years ago at the pool above here, they had conservation agents like hiding, and they caught a guy that was out netting like spoonbill like a day after the season was over. They took his boat, truck, and put him in jail. That's different. But a $25 fine is not going to stop that guy from going out the next day and doing it again.
And I'll tell you what, charging somebody $5, $10, $15, per apparatus they're fishing commercially with is not a way to raise money either. I mean, somebody's got a hoop net they're going to go out fish commercially, and you're going to charge them $10 for the license. That's crazy. So I mean, the other thing is that when you get regulations in place, okay. Now you're talking about the enforcement of those regulations, and everybody, I'm sure realizes that states have less and less resources to pull from. So the wildlife officers that are out there, whereas when I was a kid, there were probably one or two in every county. Now it's one for every 4 or 5 counties.
That's true.
Enforcement is a problem. Enforcement is a problem. I mean, be careful what you wish for because it can be out there. The regulations can be in place, but now it's an enforcement issue.
And like I said, that's kind of what I go to is what I see is I think getting the laws passed and stopping that, I think we can do that, but they have to be held accountable instead of a slap on the wrist. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the Pay Lakes. The Pay Lakes need to be regulated in the worst way. They really do. I mean, they've got, if it's a 10-acre pond, then there's got to be a limit to the amount of fish that can be in that pond. The water that is in that pond has to pass certain criteria, whether it be monthly tests or whatever the case might be. I think the patrons that go to a Pay Lake need to be paying an extra $5 every time they fish, and that money goes to support. It becomes the resource to support the regulation enforcement. You're not going to put the pay lakes out of business. There's not a state out there that is going to put a small business out of business. What the pay lakes need to do is they need to start creating their own cottage industry. You want trophy catfish, then as a whole, as a co-op, start raising them yourself. Okay? And there's other states that are out there that, blue cat and flathead are invasive. If you're going to get fish, get them from these states. But it needs to be documented where you're getting the fish, how many you're getting, where you're getting them from, transporting them, the whole 9 yards. When you talk about transportation, I just, there's a fellow that sent me a copy of a letter that he wants to send one of the states, and I'm not going to get into names or anything else, but his first draft was pretty critical. And I suggested to him that you kind of lighten up, that don't demand, suggest. Don't tell them what they should be doing, encourage them. And when you're talking about doing something and having, encouraging change, be willing to work with them. What can I do to help? Don't just point your finger at somebody and say, you need to do this, you need to change this, and then walk away. So, it's really, really important that if change is going to happen, that it happens based upon relationship building, respect for the agencies involved, and being able to share information. And that's so important. That's so important. And the pay lakes, so my point is that the pay lakes are not going to go away. Regulators are not going. They just simply have to be licensed. Yeah. They've got to be monitored. They've got to be regulated. Those that participate with pay lakes, if that's what they want to do, in a lot of states, you don't need a fishing license to fish a pay lake. So there's loss of revenue there for the state. They need to, since they're not policing themselves, they're going to need to be regulated. One of the things that I was going to get one of the points I was trying to make with this letter, this gentleman was talking about transportation of live fish over state lines. And whenever you say transportation of live fish over a state line, that becomes a federal issue, Interstate Commerce Commission. The language should be transportation of live fish within the state. Now it's a state issue. Okay. So those are just some of the semantics, if you will, of language for regulations. So it's not transportation over state lines. It's transportation within the state.
Yeah, and that's where we get, a lot of this stuff is rivers that have joining states on each side, and that's where when they don't, Illinois and Missouri, completely different, Tennessee, Arkansas, you have a lot of different laws from Iowa to Illinois, Illinois to Missouri.
Well, Bill Dance has been a big proponent of unifying the regulations up and down the Mississippi, for instance. And he has, like Tennessee. I mean, he and Johnny Morris were instrumental in getting the regulations in Tennessee in place, which are probably some of the best regulations in the country. A lot of the states, will model them after Tennessee. Is Tennessee's regulations perfect? No, there's not a perfect regulation out there as far as the recreational angler is concerned. But, it's as close as we can get it, today. But it'd be nice, like you said, Alex. It'd be nice to have a uniform set of regulations up and down a certain body of water.
Yeah, and like I said, I was even wrong when I talked to Brian today. This morning, what did I send him? So he asked about the Mississippi River, and so with the Missouri law on the Mississippi River, it's daily limit. Now, I don't know if commercial makes that different, but the daily possession limit is 20. No size. So now flathead is 10. So you're talking 20 catfish, any size you want per day.
Yeah.
And
No,
you
I
got
mean,
2 or 3 guys. You could take 20 100-pounders out.
yeah. Well, it's that needs to be addressed. And again, the regulations that we have, our wish list of regulations addresses all that. I mean, having the bag limits, the krill limits, all that. So, I mean, it's all addressed in what we propose to the states, and what we propose is uniform, because that's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for uniformity throughout, the country. That when it comes to catfish regulations, they are pretty much the same. So you go from one state to another, and they're going to be pretty much the same.
Yeah.
So that's important. You're not going to, but again, you chip away, and you build the relationships. You look for the data. You ask for the data. You find out where they're at. And you assist the efforts of what they're working on now. And that's so you can maybe identify some of the deficiencies of what they may be thinking or proposing, and maybe get something changed to the betterment of that particular fisheries, or that state, or that particular regulation. So it's all, it takes time. Tomorrow night we're going to have this great panel, and we're going to be talking about a lot of this in detail. And you got a lot of passionate people going to be on there tomorrow night on this panel. I mean, you really do, and they're well versed in a lot of this, far more educated to much of this than I am. We're hoping that we'll have a couple surprise guests that come in there as well, that are equally accomplished and passionate as these folks are. So it'll be great. Starts at 8:00 on the ACA Facebook page. We're going to broadcast at the ACA YouTube channel, which
is Central. Is that Central or Eastern?
8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central.
You Easterners.
The world does not rotate, around Central Time. I'm sorry.
I'm telling you, it does. It does.
Central. I'll tell you what. When it comes to catfishing, you're probably right. But no, it's. If you look hard enough, you can find the good and the bad in anything. And
I agree, but like I said, the sport's growing. There's a ton of good or great industry people that are passionate and want to, what I mean, build it better for the future.
Look, no matter good or bad, I mean, the way people, I mean, social media is a bittersweet tool. It allows people to talk, positive and negative.
Yeah, they're a different, some people are them keyboard warriors. They're a different person online, but then you see them face to face. You know what I mean? So like I said,
that's the truth. They're the whole different person.
Hey, you do get a little hate sometimes, Glenn. I don't know why that is.
It is what it is.
It is. And I always have your back. Anybody watching, like I said, I've known Glenn since I got into this sport, and he's anything I've ever needed, he has done for me. And there's people that have called you at 11 o'clock at night and said, "Hey, I'm starting a tournament trail. I need a logo." And by the next morning, they got a logo. Like I said,
let's not push that issue. I mean, I do it on occasion to help people and to move along. I mean, look, but that's what it's all about. That's what that's what it's all about. I have, since I invented rig wrap and been involved in the fishing industry. I mean, I've been fishing all my life. I love the sport. I love the community. And catfishing was really the first segment to really embrace, rig wrap. So there was I spent several years talking to people saying, the catfish segment really needs an association. And I certainly wasn't the one looking to do it. I was trying to encourage other people to do it. But, nevertheless, here we are. And it is what it is. I have thick skin.
I know. I'm just saying that, like I said, you've always you've done a lot, and I appreciate it. I'm saying I appreciate it. You know what I mean?
Well,
there's times I've been in a crunch and I called you,
and I appreciate your help as well. And I mean, folks like yourself and Brian St. Alma and so many others. And I mean, I mention names because these names are they're friends as well as colleagues in so many things. So there's so many great people out there in the catfish community. Part of the Tournament Alliance. Tournament directors throughout the country that are part of that, hats off, and we have a great time with that. There are a lot of people out there that have, contributed to the ACA and financially and assistance wise. It's again, it was created to unite the community and hopefully. Again, this new model we're developing, it's meant so that the ACA can go on for generations. I'm not going to be around forever, and I just I personally I want to see the ACA continue on, no matter if it's me or if it's somebody else or whatever the case might be. So, it's all good. It's all good. For the most part, there's a lot of great people, a lot of positive, energy out there. The negative stuff, my philosophy now with like the ACA page, we'll make a post if somebody comes on there and makes a negative comment, I'll delete the comment. I just don't want the negative. And if they continue to do it, I'll delete the comment and I'll ban them. And I'll do it in a heartbeat because I just don't want to deal with it. And I don't think the catfish community wants to deal with it.
No, but again, I think sometimes that people assume something instead of just calling you. You know what I mean? Because I think everybody
across the board, Alex.
I know
across the board. I don't think it's just me. I think it's social media. All of a sudden, they want to express their opinion and they throw somebody under the bus based upon assumption. When I think the first thing that should be done is pick up the damn phone and have a conversation with the individual and figure out what's going on, before you go out there in a public forum and
I've shared the number with a lot of people that, hey, call Glenn and talk to him. And then they call me back and say, you know what? Glenn's a pretty good dude, actually. And I said, I know.
I do the best I can. I mean, am I perfect? By no means, no. Do I make mistakes?
I didn't say you're perfect.
I didn't say you said I was perfect. I'm just making the comment. It just, I'm as human as the next guy. I've never run an association before. So am I going to make mistakes? Hell yeah. And I continue to make them, but I hope I'm learning from them as well.
Hey, and just like what Brian and Mike said, my hat's off to you because I just because I personally know you, I know the amount of time and effort you put in. And I know a lot of people in this industry, and I don't know who could do what you do.
Yeah, no, don't give people a markdown, Alex. There's a lot of people out there that are certainly capable. It's again, and I will refer to this new model that we're creating is going to help. I think overall, it's going to spread the burden of so many things, around, and I think it's going to benefit the sport immensely.
Yeah.
We'll get into that, pretty soon. We've had a conversation with a few people, and those that we've talked to about it seem to be pretty excited about the concept. So, anyways.
Hey, so not to change the subject, but since Mike's on here, Brian's on here.
Yeah.
You know what everybody keeps asking me, when are we
Catfish
going to see another catfish challenge?
Look at guys, my fault. Like I said, I've been kind of, disconnected for the last few months, and I'll tell you what, my health comes first. I hate, sorry to say, but it's I apologize. I dropped the ball. Okay, I just I've been working on that. I've been working on some stuff for Rig Wrap. I've been working on some other projects as well. Those that don't know me, I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur, so I've got like 3 different businesses going. But for the most part, I've just been addressing my health. Hell, I've lost 25 pounds. I'm in pretty good shape. But yeah, we got to get the catfish challenge going. Mike is up. He's you and Brian are up. We've got to decide where we're going to do it, when we're going to do it, but we got to keep that going. The catfish challenge is a lot of fun.
Well, sometimes we gotta
Thanks, Mike.
need like a mute button for Rusty. Get them Joe Schmoes. But no, dude, I'll tell you what, I've been a tournament director for 10 years and love it. But the one-on-one, when it's just like being a part of it and being on the boat, helping, with the camera stuff, like it is so much fun because it's like there is no, well, we didn't do good, we can kind of give up or whatever. Like you got to be all in because you got cameras on you.
That's it. You are live, and whether it's a good day or bad, you're gonna either have to enjoy it or suck it up. And I mean, Brian's been on both ends of it. I mean, that first challenge between you and Brian was, and again, I go back to what was said in chat, was epic. It couldn't have been, you couldn't have scripted it any better. But all the trash talk between Mike and Brian, leading up to that, and I mean, Mike absolutely schooled Brian. Absolutely, positively, Brian should have went home at 8:00 in the morning. It was all over.
Hey, but they were telling me that. I mean, I remember I made my first move.
No, that's true. That's true.
Douglas is on live with you and all of us, and Steve's talking crap. And then in the chat, as I'm putting my boat in gear, making a move, so many things going through my head. What are the fish doing? What should I change? I need to maybe get out of this area, find something to do. They're not here. They're in a different transition. And I'm just saying, this I'm reading. Well, he's done. He's going back to the boat ramp. He's going to load his boat. I'm like, that's what you got to read. And that's tough. I mean, that is tough. Yeah. And you're getting Brian just put a 30-pounder to the camera. He said, Alex, come look at the camera.
Yeah.
That sucked. I mean, that
No, I mean, you were.
But he gave me that power, and I went and found him and put on a clinic and thought I won until the end.
You put on a clinic. Listen to you. You got lucky. You got
here we go.
You got a horseshoe this big up your butt. You got lucky.
Yeah, I know. That's a lot.
I mean, you came back. I mean, you came back. Like it was no tomorrow, which was amazing to watch. And everybody. I mean, to this day, I'm sure people go back there and they watch at least the last hour of that.
Yeah, that last hour is amazing. I mean, I think I was even doing some great flares.
Yeah, I mean, it was terrific. So now, Mike is going to be up next, and he has put out the challenge. And if our I'm not going to say it. Do you know who it is?
John Jameson.
No, not John. John can't do it.
I don't know then who.
Ryan Casey.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah.
We just so Brian said he's looking forward to being the camera dude, and that's cool too. So having me and Brian in each boat, kind of talking about it, I'm pumped about it. I just don't know how you get me, Brian, Ryan, and Mike to find a day that we all have open?
You got to find it. I mean, I'll set it all up like I did in the past. I mean, you guys got to, I got to have the videos in advance. You know all about that, and we it's like pulling teeth to get what I need.
Not from me. Was it from me?
Yeah,
maybe
from
a
all
little.
of you. From all of you.
Okay.
Well, Brian was actually pretty good about it. He started off by sending some good videos, and he went on his way. Brian can get pretty creative. He really can.
Yeah, the problem is though, it got a little deep. They had to bring Steve in videos. I mean, it got a little crazy.
Hey, you want to know something? Crazy works. Brian did a hell of a job. He did a great job with the trash talk. You got to admit it.
So Mike, where are we doing this at? Is it Mississippi River? What time of year do you like?
When and where? We need to know when and where. And it's got to be coordinated with not only Mike, but you and Brian and Ryan. I mean, it's.
Yeah, I mean, I'll make something work, but
you got to let me know. We need to have I would say 2 weeks. 2 weeks advance notice, so that we can do the advanced videos. I can get all the overlays and everything made and ready for it.
Okay, Mississippi River is okay. So let's July 7th. Oh, Tom's killing me sometimes.
July 7th. I mean,
he's saying that because July 6th will be in Perryville.
Oh.
All right, Mike, you shoot us some dates. Maybe weekend before Vicksburg. Let's maybe I'll start a group
before Vicksburg. That's a possibility. I may be in Vicksburg, so we could actually do it live. I could set up a live desk in Vicksburg and do it from there, and then bring in like guest anglers as we're doing it all day long to talk about it. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I'll start a group chat with all you guys. But has anybody got an Android? Do you have an Android, Glenn?
Yes.
Oh my. Group text with people that have Androids. I'm telling you.
The Android's a much better phone than the Apple.
No, it's not.
It most certainly is. You know that Samsung is now making the screens for Apple? Yeah.
It still doesn't change the fact that
iPhones are. Here's something interesting. You know how much it costs Apple to make an iPhone?
No idea.
Now, what does a good iPhone sell for? $1,500, $1,800, right?
I don't even know. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean the top apples I think are $1,500 to $2,000, maybe even more. $30 cost them $30 to make an iPhone.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. You wonder why Apple's worth almost $1 trillion. I think they may be worth more than that. Anyways.
We'll all start a group chat. We'll try to figure out a date. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, Alex, I appreciate the invite. Enjoyed chatting with you and everybody else that's here. Glad to kind of get back in the saddle and do this kind of thing. We'll do this more often, certainly on ACA Live. Don't forget tomorrow night, we got that great panel starting at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. And again, there's going to be a lot of knowledge, passionate people on there. But should be very informative.
Yeah, real quick before we jump off, let's talk about this points real quick, just while people are on here. All this is updated. I know, Brian, we got to talk about your points a little bit, but it is kind of hard to see. Maybe I'll make it full screen. So some big changes have happened after this last tournament, and JT Ray is killing it. 774 points. So he's got a 199, a 199, a 192, and then a 184 and 168. So he can still replace the 184, but if you're looking at this, you can see all the tournaments on here. And again, we have the link on the website. On the far left, it has the top 50 highlighted in blue. Down, so Jordan Johnson is in 50th with 471 tournaments. He's got 3 tournaments in. But as you scroll down, you see a lot of people that only got 2 in, and still plan on fishing 5 total. So already 22 teams with over 700 points, 22 anglers with over 700 points. So our next event, Perryville, Mississippi River.
How many events are left, Alex?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 events. So Perryville, Missouri on the Mississippi River, Muscatine, Iowa, up in Iowa on the upper Mississippi River, St. Joe, Missouri River, Burlington, Iowa, Mississippi River, New Madrid, Missouri, Mississippi, Savannah, Tennessee is an event we added a while back. That's going to be a pretty cool event. And then Keystone Lake is going to finish it up out of Oklahoma, just outside of Tulsa and Manford. And then once we gather after Keystone, we're going to gather all those points, take the top 50 anglers, and then invite them to a no entry fee championship November 2nd, my bad. November 2nd, Helena, Arkansas.
Well, the season isn't even, you're not even done with half the season.
I know, but what I'm saying is that, something that I've changed over the years is making it more where not a participation award, where you have to really be a good angler to be qualified for the championship, which a lot of people want to see where they fit in from anglers across the Midwest that are fishing. We got Texas anglers, just like what Brian said, Oklahoma and Texas beating the Yankee Trail, JT and Monty.
Wow.
But like I said, there's a lot of time left. We Twisted Cat spent some time in Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri. Now we just came up to Illinois. We're going to be on the upper Mississippi River in Burlington, Muscatine. So we're going to have some of them Northern Illinois, some Indiana folks, some Iowa. They're going to start getting their tournaments in. So we're going to kind of see how things look. So it'll be interesting. Like I said, I love the points race. Maybe some year I get to fish it. I don't know. I'd love to see where I could compete, and see with other anglers. Like I said, there's a lot of really good anglers out there as the sport's growing.
There are, and it's great to see the sport growing. And again, hats off to you and Twisted Cat and your whole team, because every year you just seem to do a little bit better.
Glenn, I appreciate that. Just a little. I'm like a fine wine. We're trying to create that fine wine.
No, it's not that you haven't done it well to begin with. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do to improve perfection, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Hey, Monty says, I thought anything north of the Red River was Yankee land. The Red River is way down there. I don't know where they get that.
Yeah, well, I look at, I'm from Western New York, so I'm as Yankee gets. So emphasis on little. Oh, well.
Not much. He's just a little every year. Just a little.
Yeah.
Need to have more in the South. Hey, I'm working on it, Clyde. I'm going to New York to try to have some out.
You need to find yourself another Alex Nagy that you can trust, that you can put a whole series together, that you can trust this associate director with, and set up a whole different region of Twisted Cat events.
All right. Send them over.
I think you need to put the word out there. I'm putting the word out there for Alex. He is looking for an associate director to handle a certain region of the country so he can expand Twisted Cat.
What's the experience?
Self-motivated, capable, personable, knowledge of the sport. Right? What else?
Yeah.
Start to put together a job description. Put it out there. Because if you can duplicate what you're doing now in parts of the country, it's a no-brainer. It's a home run everywhere you go. And I don't think there's anybody in this chat that would disagree with me.
Yeah, I just need to duplicate myself. Clone myself.
Well, in some respects, yes. In other respects, no. No.
Well, you got to stop, Glenn.
Why?
Oh my! No, like I said, it's Twisted Cat.
How many times you guys busted on me? Every chance I get, I'm going to take. Believe me.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing. If I'm ever in a boat with you again and you're fishing, you got a rod in your hand.
Here we go.
I want to be on that.
Here we go. Yep.
I've never seen line peel out of a reel so fast and somebody just stare at it.
Not a question of staring at it. I was looking. You know what? I'm not going to explain myself again. Not going to explain myself again.
Now you got Douglas in the chat, and I don't know, he's saying get her done. So I don't know if he's talking about the crap.
He's talking about expanding Twisted Cats.
I was talking about when he was on chat telling me that I need to probably hang it up that morning because I was getting my butt kicked.
Well, that's true too. But you didn't, and you didn't get your butt kicked. But it was an interesting day.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, you want to talk about somebody that, as far as when we talk about conservation and everything else, and the guy that has really, bent over backwards, Steve Douglas is definitely on the top of that list. I'm hoping he might be one of our surprise guests tomorrow night. He certainly has the invitation to be.
I bet he will.
Well, we'll see.
I don't know if he's been on this podcast yet. I need to get him on this podcast.
You need to. Tell you what, he's done a heck of a job with the Catfish Conference. I talked to Steve recently, and 12,000 people were at the Catfish Conference this year.
Steve, he said I didn't tell you to give up. He said, yeah, but he was telling me I need to make a move. And I did make a move, so he's kind of right. Uh-oh, I didn't say that. That's Charles there.
Oh, God. See, you got to put it up there. Thanks, Alex. Okay. Yeah, my hands were not shaking. Okay. I was using a rod and reel I'm not familiar with, and I was looking for the drag. That's why I was looking at the reel. I was looking for the drag.
I wanted to see that fish so bad. That had to be a good
fish. It scared me. Are you kidding me? Yeah. No. It's okay.
You did catch some fish that day. We got to do that again. Maybe down in Vicksburg in July. Yeah. We'll do that.
No, that was fun. I'll tell you what,
I'm bringing my boat.
Charlie kicked everybody's butt that day. He brought in a lot of fish.
I'm going to bring my boat for that trip. Spend a couple days out there messing around.
Yeah. Your boat is really decked out, Alex. I got to tell you. I mean, you need some fuzzy dice hanging off of that thing, and I think that'll pretty much finish it off.
Fuzzy dice? Where do you get some
you got everything on that boat. I mean, it's all pimped out. Hey,
I like boats.
Obviously, you need the fuzzy dice or the little dingleberries that kind of hang in the window.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either, but
Brian said, looking forward for tomorrow night. We should all gain a lot of conservation knowledge, and working together is outstanding for the future of trophy catfishing. Yeah, I'll tell you, if you get a bunch of us together, that, like I said, that's powerful, because there are some big industry leaders that we got in the sport. Passionate people.
Yeah, and that's exactly. But the passion has to be properly channeled. Passion can't change to frustration or to anger. Passion cannot be demanding. It's you gotta be able to channel it properly and be patient.
Yeah, that's why you're there.
No.
You get everybody, just line them out.
No, it's look at there's a lot of effort going on out there, folks. You got to understand it. I mean, there's effort going on in every state. There's people out there that have this kind of passion in every state that are working on regulations and trying to get things done. We need to know about it. We're here to help that effort. You know, Kentucky, you know, we're not taking credit for getting those regulations passed. At the very most, we weren't the icing on the cake. We might have been the cherry on top, because there's been years of effort that were made there that finally got that needle to move. But you know, I like to think that the assistance that we gave at the end was enough to move it, move it through, along with everything else that had happened. So I mean, we can't be every place. I mean, we don't have the resources to do it. Every time I get on a plane and I go somewhere, it's $1,000, $1,200. It just is.
Yeah.
So it's conservation efforts. None of this stuff is inexpensive to do. And I'm not just talking about money. It's time. It's just staying in touch. But that's why, we're open to tell us what's going on. I mean, if there's a realistic chance that what you're working on is going to make a difference, we're gonna jump in and help wherever we can.
Yeah.
So, and
well, we're getting there.
But yeah, if you're going to bring your boat down to Vicksburg, I wouldn't mind going fishing again. Oh, you're bringing Charlie along?
I don't know what his plans are. He won't fish with me no more for some reason. He says I'm no good. Kick me out of the boat. Put Donald Moore in there. So
stop with the hand shaking, Charlie. My hand wasn't shaking.
I got to find a new fishing partner. I get George on here. So tomorrow night, 8 Eastern.
8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. You got this roundtable discussion, concerns, conservation, and community. So, I mean, people have, questions, if they have comments, if they, suggestions, efforts that they may be working on or know of. We certainly want to hear about it. But again, I'm more or less, I'm looking forward to as much as anybody else, because like I said, there's going to be a lot of knowledgeable, passionate people on here that know. And again, hats off to Jeremy Chase for all the efforts in putting it together. He came to me with it last week and I said, yeah, great idea. Let's do it. So.
So Steve said, I believe what we have done in the last 10 years to Kentucky has gotten better.
Yep.
There's an Ohio State record. Yeah. So like I said, it's just getting the right people in there, doing what Steve's done for years and years. And
yeah, I mean, Steve was one of the pioneers, with Kentucky. He's the one that put that effort out there. I mean, don't let, and Steve's been kind of quiet these days on social media too. Don't let anybody think that, because he's quiet, he's not doing anything. Steve Douglas is out there hammering away. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
So, there's no question, but there's a lot of heroes. There's a lot of heroes in the catfish community. And Douglas is certainly one of them.
Yeah. I agree.
So.
Well, Glenn, we've almost went 2 hours.
Really? Should have shut me up. I'm a little long-winded at times.
You know what? I know. This is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being on. Again, everybody, thanks for watching. Next Monday, I don't know, we might do it, but I'll be traveling to Arizona. But the Monday after, for sure. We'll see if you're watching this and you'd like to see some people on this podcast with me, put their name in the comments. And again, we're going to probably have some anglers on. I'm looking to do some more angler spotlights like what I did with Seth McElow for some channel catfish. That was really, really fun. So again, anything you want to see if on the angler spotlight or somebody on the podcast, put it in the comments, send me a message, and we'll get that going. And it's full bore. Summer's here. Fishing's kind of turned on a little bit. And like I said, hopefully see y'all July 6th in Perryville, Missouri at our next event, and hopefully next year at Fishing for Freedom.
Yeah. What's that Fishing for Freedom URL again? That web address? Because I think people really that's an event that should be on everybody's list.
Fishing for Freedom. Quincy, I'm going to type it into the comments. Fishing for Freedom Quincy.org.
Cool.
And like I said, any questions about that, wanting to be a volunteer, a boater, sponsor, any of that stuff, send me a message and I'll get you to the right person. And that's a fun thing to be a part of. And again, any questions about any events we have coming up, let us know. And we will see you next Monday, possibly, depending on how my travels are.
Why don't you do the broadcast live from in your truck on the way there?
It's just kind of, that's a long story because number one, my truck is at a diesel shop because I think the turbo went out. So I had to borrow my brother's Deer Camp Hummer to pull my boat this weekend, which, yeah. So hopefully the turbo's not out. I'll probably know here in 2 days. But yeah, just like Tom said, my truck's a bad subject right now.
Yeah, well, sorry about that. I've been trying to find a new vehicle myself. I had one; they wouldn't come down in the price. So
you know what? We're talking about new vehicles. I got the.
First of all, I don't buy new. I buy them a few years old. I refuse to buy new.
Yeah, so I got to drive a brand new Chevy. It was a turbo diesel 1500. I think it was, I don't know what it was called, Trail Boss or something. So I got to leave my truck and trailer at the Pekin Boat Club, and Ray Dennison had a truck I could drive back and forth to the hotel and all that. That thing is really nice. Like, I was just shocked. Like for a turbo, I didn't even know that it was a diesel, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I'm not looking at the GM stuff only because what Brian said, I was one of them, but I know several people that I forget what it is. It's a 5.3 or 5.8 liter motor. It gets to be around 80,000 miles and it just craps out. Big problem. So I won't touch it. So I'm looking at another Ford product and we'll see. But I couldn't make the deal. I'm really
keep looking at deals out there.
Oh yeah, no. If there's one that comes and one that goes, I'll find it.
Yeah.
But unlike the Auto Trader, fair deal, good deal, great deal. I want a kick-ass deal. They don't have a kick-ass, thing. I want a kick-ass deal.
Yeah, don't we all?
Yeah. Don't we all? That's what I'm shooting for.
What's up, Seth? Get back to work. All right. Well, hey, thanks for being on.
Yeah, man.
Again, I can't wait till tomorrow night. I'm gonna be on the chat.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, there's gonna be some good stuff. We're gonna go. We're probably gonna go all night. I mean, start at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central.
Midnight.
It is what it is. I mean, I'm just gonna, have my favorite beverage here, possibly maybe a couple of snacks and comfortable chair, and we're just gonna dig in, man.
Hey, I had to get me a new chair.
I like that chair. That's a gaming chair.
Well, it's a gaming chair. So I went to Staples because my other chair, I think that it was a hand-me-down. It was like
$179 for that chair, I think.
No, $139. It was on some crazy. Nice. Either they had it marked wrong, or it was on some crazy sale. But it was $130. I said it. I'm like, this is crazy. The tag said like $349. I'm like, that's nuts. And then I looked at the box and it said like $139. I'm like, let's take it up, see if it's really $139, and it was. And I said, let's roll. So the box barely fit in the car, and then I put it. I mean, it's awesome, comfy. I don't have leather all over my shirt.
Yeah, I'm sitting on a stool that it's got no cushion on it at all, no support, no nothing. So it sucked. Imagine sitting in. That's what I had to sit in for the catfish challenge for 6 hours.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking for sympathy and a new chair.
Well, good luck. Good luck tomorrow night.
It should be fun. Again, we got some great folks on there. A lot of passion, a lot of knowledge, and certainly a lot of people on there that can answer questions and I think point people in the right direction.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Glenn, thanks for being on.
Shout out to, if I will, real quick, shout out to CR again. Thanks for all the support. Obviously, the membership and the Tournament Alliance members. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, and also thanks to all the sponsors. Again, like I always say, even if you don't use their products, thank them for helping Twisted Cat, be as big as it is and the payouts and stuff like that. So again, shout out to all the sponsors that support us. And again, we'll see you next time. Everybody have a good week. We're out.